Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a pretty funny video over here today. We've got the reaction, or maybe I guess like the debrief, the breakdown from Garnt. You might know him as Giguk, a very big sort of like anime aficionado in the internet community, and of course somebody who's been diving more and more into gacha games because they're a lot like anime. And I just want to be upfront in saying the title is not really clickbait, it's more so a joke based off of the first line of this description over here. Kuro Games didn't give me a link to promote. Just Google Wuthering Waves or something. And so that's why I'm calling him the worst sponsor ever, because that is one of the most effortless call to actions I've ever seen. But this is the thing. That's what Kuro kind of told him to do. So bit of a joke on both ends, and with that all out of the way, I just wanted to see what his takes were on version 3.1, because it is, in my opinion, the best story ever told in a gacha before, and it kind of created like this insane domino effect across the rest of the Wuthering Waves story that brought a lot of like those past events, the past moments, past sacrifices, and made them a lot more relevant and important for the future plot. So it's something to me that has like changed the tone of the game completely. And it was an absolute banger. And so I'm excited to see what the takes are from the guy who's, you know, known for like judging these stories, and see what it's all about.
Sorry if I'm looking a little bit worse for wear today. I've just had my eye surgery recently, and I am not allowed to take a shower for a few days.
Is that real? So this guy's just like, yeah, I'm mad stinky, bro. Yeah, I'm stinky AF right now.
But I feel that makes me uniquely qualified to talk about today's topic. Gacha games. Now, if you've been following me,
he's just method acting right now. Yeah, nah, he's like Heath Ledger. He's like Heath Ledger and Christian Bale. You know those guys that like to really get into the role for a movie, they like live like the person.
On Twitch the last week, you know that I have been spamming one game and one game only, Wuthering Waves. Why did I do that? Well, recently the developer of Wuthering Waves, Kuro Games, sponsored me to play their latest patch because they were so confident that I was going to enjoy it.
They really did cook. I think the thing is, I don't think this video even is sponsored. I have no idea. I don't think I saw the sponsor tag at the start. Maybe he didn't disclose it. Maybe he just made it. I don't know.
So even though I only needed to stream the latest patch, I thought I'd go out my way to play through and stream all of the content I
understand he was sponsored for the stream. I don't know for this video. The vid isn't, only the stream was. That was my thought. I knew the stream was sponsored.
Missed out up till then, just to see what Kuro has been cooking and if they were cooking in general. And now that I finished it, I can say, boy, were they. 3.1 is the best thing that Wuthering Waves has produced thus far, and
absolutely agree.
Brought it to a level I wasn't expecting it to go.
I think that's the general take from pretty much every single person that played it. Yeah, no, it was so damn good. It was mind-blowing how good it was. And it makes you look at everything else in the rest of the game in like a different light afterwards.
And I've been asked by Kuro themselves to share my honest thoughts and opinions about it. Now, for full disclosure, this is a sponsored video.
Okay.
So I understand that from your perspective, you have to take everything I say with a grain of salt.
Okay, he forgot to put the tag in then. Bad boy.
And that's totally understandable, so I'm going to try and do my best to be specific and give examples to back up what I'm saying, because this video won't be without criticism as well, as I wouldn't have agreed to it if I couldn't give my honest thoughts.
One thing Kuro does with all of their sponsorships is that they allow you to pretty much openly critique the game and openly critique what happened in it. So, yeah, it seems on brand.
I realize that not all of you might be in tune with the space, and some of you might be wondering, what is this Wuthering Waves you are talking about? Well, Wuthering Waves is this anime-style gacha game, and it's really hard to talk about it without sounding like some generic YouTube ad read. But if you're in the gacha space, you've probably already heard about it, since it is one of the higher end productions you can find in the industry currently.
I think it's great that like you get, I kind of view him as like, he's not really like a normie, right? Garnt isn't really like a normie. It's like, he's close to a normie, but also obviously deep in the culture. But I do feel like he's more normie, right, than like the typical, like, dedicated anime fan that you would think about.
Now, I want to make it clear. I am not a gacha game content creator. I am an anime YouTuber.
Yep.
So I'm definitely coming into this with a much more casual outlook on things.
He's a weeb. I mean, he's like a normie weeb. You know what I mean? Where, like, he knows how to talk, where I just assume if you're, like the most giga anime fan ever, you're like, you know what I'm talking about, right? Like, think of, okay, it's like Gart versus Tuhu Sniper. Yeah, that's what I mean by normie, right? Compared to Tuhu Sniper, this guy is the most normal person in the fucking universe, right? Yeah, it's him versus Tuhu. That's what I mean. That's a better breakdown of it.
I am definitely not as informed as some of the other creators out there right now, and even in the Wuthering Waves space, I haven't played every single character quest, I haven't done all of the exploration or seen everything the game has to offer.
Yep.
I have literally just played through all of the main story quests, some side quests, and played a little bit more of the game offline as well. And as a more casual player, basically catching up to almost a year's worth of content the last week, I can say that Wuthering Waves has certainly come a long way since it's launched.
Did Gart play at launch? I don't know if he actually played at launch. I'm not super sure. It seemed like he was like picking up the game close to like 2.0, like after 2.0 or something like that. He's played since 1.1? What the fuck?
I think a lot of players has known that the game has had its ups and downs, and
okay, so he's speaking as like a close to day one. Okay, this got a lot more interesting. This got a lot more interesting now that I know he's one of the OGs.
Even myself playing through some of the early patches, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes it kind of felt like a slog, but it was around the time, I think it was about patch 1.3 when they introduced Mount Firmament, that
1.1.
I could see shades of what the game could become.
So he liked the Jinsei and the Chang Li patch.
And I think since then, Kura Games has done a great job of iterating on what they had built before and adding just a little bit more every time.
I'm just going to be honest, guys. I have felt like when you look at 1.1 in relation to what it did for the game, 1.1 was a fantastic update. Just overall, 1.1 was like a great like post-release update.
Sita was a step up from Mount Firmament, and even through that arc, I felt like the overall production values, the presentation, just the amount of love and care they put into it really felt evident. It's really been a treat to see how it's evolved over the years, and especially after playing the entire game patch by patch, back to back, I could see the evolution happen really quickly, and now I think it's safe to say that the game is in the best state it's ever been in right now.
Absolutely. I would say that the progression of Wuwa over the past couple of months, or the past couple of years, has been, you have like 1.0, right? You got like 1.0 over here. Then you go up with 1.1. Then you obviously go back down with 1.2, but then right back up with 1.3 because that one's solid. And I think 1.4 kept it like slightly inclined, but then like that. Then you had 2.0 come in. 2.1 kind of brings it down a little bit because it is a bit filler. Then 2.2 like soars even higher. And now we're in 2.3, and I feel like it's a little... 2.3 is like a little bit middling. Then 2.4, we go way back up. 2.4 is crazy. But then 2.5 kind of simmers down a little bit just because it's a, like, filler patch. Then 2.6 brings us back up. Then 2.7 kind of brings us back up and then down. And then 2.8 is kind of, like, stagnant, right? It's been a little bit odd in the latter half of the 2.x arc because it's like a blend of, like, good story, but then also, like, the game didn't feel like it was in a great spot when it came to, like, the events and stuff. So it was just, like, good story, but then, like, the other stuff going on in the game was a little bit mid, right? And that's what I mean by 2.5, guys. Good story, but was the 2.5 patch particularly good? I don't think so. I don't think the patch outside of the story was that good. I think the story was good, but what else were you doing during that update? One
thing that really makes Wuthering Waves stand out from other gacha games, and one thing that I can really see the improvement.
That was the 7 out of 10 patch. And so 2.5 just seemed exciting for you guys because the 7 out of 10 Genizad clapped walnut drama took center stage during it. And so it felt like there was content to do because he was the content. I hope you guys recognize that. That's why you have like a favorable reading on 2.5 because Genizad was like, he was the main event.
Movement happen right in front of me is the care and attention to its presentation. Obviously, one of the very notable things are its cutscenes. It has done an amazing job at being able to set big bombastic set pieces and truly deliver on hype and exciting moments, and that was one thing that it always did consistently, especially during the 2.x patches. But what actually truly impressed me is how they went about handling other scenes outside of just the big action scenes, like dialogue scenes, for example.
He's going to be glazing 2.8, right? And this is the thing. 2.8 to me is a spectacle of presentation, but wow, that plot pissed me off.
You know, all too often, especially in video game storytelling, I'm very used to a simplistic style of storytelling, especially if it's just some kind of like character scene or dialogue scene. And what really surprised me was how dynamic some of these dialogue scenes were in Wuthering Waves. During the later patches, the camera isn't just static, cutting between two talking heads. Characters don't just recite their lines. There's camera work, there's character acting, there's movements.
And this is what I mean by insane cinematography. And the main reason why I just didn't like 2.8 was just I just thought the plot sucked. Like, the plot didn't make sense to me. I was like, wait, we're only here for like 2 days, and then like, what it seemed like, how we just teleport to like this new building? Weren't we searching for this forever? But like the actual technical quality of it, it was amazing. But yeah, it's like it was a piece of shit covered in like gold lining.
You can see the subtle emotions on their faces when they say a certain line sometimes. For me, the big noticeable
Not pre-watched, by the way.
jump was from about patch 2.8 onwards, where suddenly I could see a lot of thought being put into stuff like shot composition, framing, lighting, overall direction. And it wasn't even for one of the climactic scenes, it was just this really intimate dialogue between two of the characters. And it honestly surprised me, because what this allows is an extra layer of depth to the storytelling, because you are no longer just listening to the dialogue to grasp a character's emotions. You are actively watching their expressions, you're seeing their actions. It is no longer just a glorified visual novel. This is something more in line you'd see from a regular TV anime.
TV anime, or just simply a AAA game.
I'd argue that a lot of TV anime aren't even as dynamic as some of the scenes you see in Wuthering Waves, and this level of quality only increases in patch 3.1 and 3.0. And you know what, on the topic of production values,
Maybe 3.0, maybe, I don't know. I feel like I try to erase memory of 3.0 from my mind.
I have got to talk about the music, because if there was one thing that I kept getting blown away by and kept getting surprised by, and you can see this on my reaction, on my streams, it was how much incredible music this game contains.
Yeah, I think at this point, you can't even say that Wuthering... Like, music in these games is typically the strongest stuff, right? Think about honestly, HSR, ZZZ, Genshin, Wuwa. One thing you can consistently say about all 4 of those games is that the music is good. Maybe this just means good music is not hard to make. And we should just start... Maybe we're overrating it. Maybe good music is just easy to make.
Like, every time you load up a new patch, there'd be like 2 or 3 incredible insert songs of like all different kind of genres. Some of them you only get to hear once, and I'm like, how much music do you have in the backlog, Kuro? God damn!
I mean, we all know the song, right? Does he end up playing the sax song? Is he about to talk about the sax? He's about to talk about the sax, isn't he? Oh, I already know.
The best example
I got the
of
link
this
ready
is
just in
something
case.
I can't even show you guys, because it didn't happen on stream. It happened when I was playing off stream, because yes, I did enjoy this enough to continue playing it of my own volition. So I'm just doing this random side quest from one of the older patches, and it brings me to this area, which is a lake underneath some shooting stars. And I'm here just casually...
A lake underneath some shooting stars. Is he talking about 2.4, 2.7?
exploring it, and then I get hit with this beautiful track that sounds like it could have come from Made in Abyss or something. And it caught me so off guard that I just had to drop everything and just appreciate the moment for what it was for a second, because it was such a tranquil scene.
I remember this. Yep, this is either 2.2, I
Then
think.
after it hit me, I could not believe that this was a moment for a completely optional area. I could have completely missed this moment if I didn't go out of my way to do this quest. And it just shows how many amazing tracks and amazing moments that might not even be on the main story quests that Kuro have put into this game. Now, I know
Now, I want to see what his reaction was to my favorite song from 3.1. Apparently, it's right here. His first unprotected sax by the Glipper.
I knew it.
I'm sorry, that's...
oopsie.
Why is he called the Glipper? Bro, can you change this chat? Bro, Glipper is insane. Bro, Is that like a common phrase in this guy's chat? Hit him with the glippy? You about to hit him with the glippy? Bro, come on. That just sounds weird, don't it? All right, let's hear it. Unprotected sax.
I knew it!
Oopsie.
There had to have been undiscovered debris in this area.
Wow. We're not just
It
gonna...
must have been sealed in the ice wall.
Oh, is that a
all this time.
sax? Oh. Oh, Wuthering Waves. You can't just... Oh, you can't just... Oh. Oh.
That was everyone's reaction, bro. Y'all said I was weird when I reacted like that, too. I was like, is this sex music? That was my take. I was like, why are they playing sex music?
Oh, at least buy me dinner before you bring out the sax, Wuthering Waves. Oh.
Okay, he definitely acted way more zesty than I am, though, during this shit.
Oh, you can't just give me unprotected sax like that. God damn.
I'm glad our reactions were similar.
Oh, fuck me. I love me a little sexy sax, man.
I told y'all it was sex music. I was saying the entire time, bro, anyone that hears this gonna say is sex music. Every single person. Every single person. That's a fact. But it is, damn, it's a good soundtrack. It's a good soundtrack, bro. It has to be, I think, low-key the best song I've heard in a game before.
This is a game, and normally when people will talk about games, people like to mention the gameplay. And if you have seen my gameplay of this game on my streams, you'd probably know, probably not the most qualified person to talk about this, because what I want to focus on, and I'm pretty sure the reason Kuro brought me on, was to focus on the story.
All right, so because Gart won't show you gameplay real fast, I'll do a personal plug. I'll do a personal plug to show you just how insane the gameplay in this game gets. So my editor actually cooked up a wild fucking... Bro, he kind of went crazy with the edits over here, man. I'm gonna be so for real with you. Just check this shit out. It goes crazy. And this is the soundtrack from the game that's playing. Don't worry, this fight's only a minute and 40 seconds.
Let the show begin! With style and grace. The moon is full.
I'll make myself really small here.
On you go.
There you go. Now you can enjoy it.
Face me. All of me.
Ready for battle. Unstop.
With pleasure.
I still think this is the best fight in the game, bro.
Finale.
Thanks for watching.
That intro transition
the music
to Gian from Yuno was
the show
fucking
begin.
sick.
Bro,
Like, the
we,
music
teleported across
elevates
the
this
fucking
fight so
server.
much. The music
Crazy.
elevates this fight like crazy.
World at my strength. Taste my resolve. Future
You're wide open.
reshape.
Fear no.
Oh, that was aura right there. Oh, this part too? You're in the club, bro. You're now in the club.
Thanks for watching. Ta-da! A grand overture. A perfect chord.
I could have turned off the UI for this run.
Poem of finale. I'll indulge you. On you go. Face me. Answer my call. Fate
Ready for battle.
revealed.
Unstop.
Can we just focus real quick on the cinema of having Yuno's moon
Unstop.
show up in like the background of his ultimate? Like, can we just focus on this shot for a second? This is the type of shit you're able to
for
do in the
battle.
game.
Revealed.
It's just,
Unstop.
it looks so insane, right? Let me catch the exact frame, bro. I mean, that just looks so fucking cool, doesn't it?
Break.
Thanks for watching.
And of course, we beat this guy's ass.
Easy.
We beat this guy's ass over here.
Listen. The trio of
But that's just what the
destiny.
combat in the game looks like, man. Very fun. And there's so many characters you can use. Obviously, it's one of the biggest draws of the game. And it was, I think, the biggest draw of the game back in the early versions. Like 1.0, 1.1, 1.2, all of that, right? But now the story is something that people are playing this game for. But it's not like you're getting just the story now, right? You still have the amazing foundation of an amazing fucking game. And just so you all know, you guys, if you thought this unit looked cool, this was the first character ever released in the game. This character was released about almost 2 years ago. He's the first limited unit in the history of the game.
Thanks for watching.
Everything I talked about before is fantastic dressing, but unless the meat of the story under that is good, then it all falls apart. And I would say that for the most part, the story of Wuthering Waves was enjoyable. For the majority of my playthrough, what I found it delivered and consistently delivered was great popcorn fun with a little bit of a, let's be real, harem angle, which isn't going to speak to everyone, but if you know the types of anime that I watch and consume, was right up my alley.
So he's saying that there is a kind of Gathering Wives angle, but it's very clear there are many platonic characters to Rover. Examples of platonic characters to Rover that I think are very obvious, right, is Chakona's definitely like definitely a big one. Then you have Augusta as well, Zani as well. I wouldn't say Yuno because you went into the dark depths to save her. Galbraina definitely doesn't give a fuck about you. Like, Galbraina does not give a shit about you, 100%. And I think Kart's too busy saving the world. I think Kart's too busy to save the world and, like, being a knight to actually, like, care. That's my personal take. Frolova obviously also fucking hates you, too.
The way I approached it was with a similar mindset to watching a high-budget, well-produced power fantasy show. And a lot of this was down to how the story would play out in every patch. For the most part, here's how it goes. You start a new story arc. You get introduced to a new character. It's probably gonna be a girl. You find out a little bit about their backstory and what problems they're going through. And then in comes Rover, the guy, the GOAT himself, who steps in and helps them to solve whatever issues they were going through. They end their character arc, we have a big bombastic set piece, and then Rover and them become friends.
There's a lot of animes that do that, yeah.
Afterwards, friends. And yeah, I definitely understand during my playthrough why the fan base lovingly calls it Gathering Wives. This isn't to say that I thought it was on the same level as some brain-dead isekai or anything.
And that's what I mean. It's got elements of it, but it's not like fully leading into, oh, like my 100 girlfriends. Shit like that. Like, isn't that like actual? I've seen the title before, like on some websites. Is that actually, does that guy actually have 100 girlfriends? Not right now. Obviously, he'll get there, right? That's the, yeah, whatever, that's.
There are a lot of stories that have heart and hit a lot of emotional beats, but it was hard to see it as anything more or substantial because every patch we'd reset and recycle through the same formula, and you know what? I was fine with that.
I don't think it's that big of a deal, especially when, like I mentioned before, you were getting peppered with quests where even though the characters are female, they're obviously platonic. Chakona, Zani, Jeja, like there's a lot of units. There's a lot of units that are like actually genuinely very platonic.
It felt like it knew exactly what it wanted to be, the audience it was trying to hit, and for what it was just a lot of fun. That is, until 3.1. This patch showcased the story that had a level of emotional depth that maybe the game had shown shades of before, but never fully realized as well as it did here.
There's a reason why 3.1 I ended up talking about Frolova a decent amount. Because I don't think I ever ended up with like that deep of a thought about the story until like, yeah, it was 2.5 to 3.1. That's like the gap.
Really took the characters to places I wasn't expecting.
That's what I mean.
And explored themes and ideas they hadn't done before or I ever thought Wuthering Waves was going to explore. And it's almost impossible to talk about why the story of this patch hit so hard without just straight up spoiling some of the big reveals of what happens in this story arc. So
I saw that message that got deleted. How did you delete that one while laughing?
Happens in this story arc. So you have been warned. I am...
He used the vanish command? He self-vanished? Remember, that was a deleted comment. I did not condone that message.
going to talk about spoilers. Okay? So, Rover has an adopted daughter. The big twist is the new character, Aemeath, is not just another wife. She is your adopted daughter. And damn, when that moment hit, I felt truly bad about some of the comments I'd said about Aemeath when I first saw her.
I feel like this was like the realization. I feel like a lot of people, it was like this. Just read the chat box over here.
Oh, wait, that looks really bad, bro. Ooh, shit. Ooh. Whoa, 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 whoa. 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 Oh, that's what I get for talking shit, bro. Oh my god, dog. Hey, we ranked up. Oh my god, why did it delete us? Like, why did it do that?
And guys, there's another one too.
I don't even, like, dude, like, I just sneezed. That's just a fucking sneeze, man. That's just a sneeze. I don't know, like, you're so wrong. You're, like, just watch this, okay? Just listen in slow mode. Give me a sec here. Okay, slow mode was a bad idea. The point is, I just sneezed. Oh, Jesus Christ. It was actually a sneeze. It was just a sneeze, man. It was just a sneeze. Like, I don't know how you guys even, like, get that to be anything more. I literally sneezed. There's like 3 people out there that will confirm that it was just a fucking sneeze.
Bro, that is like what I feel like is happening. That's like what I feel like is going on when people found out, wait, she's your daughter. That's what I feel like like those are two, that's what I feel like it was like, the reactions.
Based on Wuthering Waves.
Guys, I will say, the first time I saw this clip was like a month ago, and I was like, bro, I was laughing for like 10 minutes. I was laughing for like legitimately 10 minutes the first time I ever saw this clip. And it was only like a month ago.
Track record, when she first got introduced in the previous patch, I think I said to myself, there we go, a new wife to add to the collection. And about halfway through the patch, I was like, oh god.
She's your kid.
Oh god, what did I say about my baby? But after the shock of it all wore off, I thought it was such a genius move because it allowed us to see sides of the characters that we had never seen before and could never have explored before, by the simple fact of her not just being another possible wife character or a friend character.
Absolutely. I think the fact that you don't, like, this is the thing. What Rover did for Aemeath and the sacrifices that were made for Aemeath, right? Rover dies in this story, right? You don't do that unless it's for someone or something that you, like, love. And so, obviously, they don't want Rover to have, like, a confirmed canon relationship because of people. But a daughter, that's fine. And so, this was truly, like, I think one of those moments where you see the main character making one of the biggest sacrifices possible, and the context of it fits well in the story.
You are able to showcase a new dynamic between Rover and this new character. You know, it's because of this dynamic that we really get to see a vulnerability in Rover that we never have seen before. Yep. I said this before on stream, but I really resonated with Aemeath's character arc, and there was this moment where... Okay, so I've tried to record this next part multiple times, but I haven't been able to convey it as well as when all the emotions were still raw when I first said it on streams.
Just rewatch it, bro. You'll get sad again, I promise you.
So I'm just going to play that clip. I think actually...
Okay.
The most emotional I got was when they were just having a conversation together. And it was a conversation where Aemeath, as an adult, told Rover that she understood how hard he was working and, you know, he had to go save the world and everything like that. And she understood that. I got a flashback of a conversation I had with my dad. He apologized to me. And he apologized because he was thinking back to this one memory where I really, really wanted to play with him. I didn't want him to leave, to go to work. And he kind of had to like brush me off because he had to go to work. And he said that moment has like haunted him forever. Like I told him straight up, Dad, I do not even remember this moment. I'm sure when I was a kid, I was really sad, really upset about it because I just wanted to be with my dad. But as I've grown older, I see and I saw, even as a kid, how hard you worked and how hard you had to like push yourself to provide for the family. And
you know what? I see why he wasn't trying to repeat that in this segment over here. I see why. That's just not really something you decide to talk about on a whim when the subject matter calls for it. There's got to be a build-up for that. So, yeah, perfectly fine for him to replay that part. I see why now.
I think seeing Aemeath sacrifice so much for her own parent just reminded me how much I would do for my own parents.
Okay, now this is the... Guys, I don't mean this to be funny, but, like, he obviously rewatched that part of the clip, and then he just got right in the mood anyways to, like, carry it on. So it's like, he kind of, like, did what he said he wasn't going to do. That's the part that I, like, find, like, a little bit funny, because it was like, oh, I'm not in the emotional state to do it. But it literally sounds like he is right now. So I think he just rewatched it with us as well.
Just to make them feel how grateful I am for everything they've done for me. And even if I could just pay back a fraction of their lives and the hard work they put to give me the opportunities that I had, just, whew, I'm
This is what I meant. It's like he's in the clip already. It's like it's just a continuation of that clip.
I'm getting emotional just thinking about it. And this level of emotional storytelling just wasn't something I thought Wuthering Waves could produce, because that wasn't the only big and interesting reveal to happen in this patch.
I think that this story is one of the most relatable ones ever, because it's like, when you have like the traditional harem, right, or like maybe even like love lost story, guys, you're gacha game players. There's a good chance nobody has had a partner here. Or sorry, there's a good chance that a good part of the people playing this patch will have not had a partner, will have never been in a relationship, blah, 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 all of that. So it's like not really relevant, right, to talk about the issues in a relationship. But here's a fact. Everyone playing this game had parents. Yeah, here's a fact. Everyone playing this game had parents. Some of y'all might not know them, which is very unfortunate, but there's a good number of people that do, and you just know that you were created somehow, bro.
Because we finally get to find out a little bit more about Rover's past.
Unless your father is God, but like that's like a couple thousand years ago, right?
As well. So it turns out that Rover is essentially an immigrant from another world. He was someone who was sent here from a mission, but also someone who really longs and misses home. Someone who wants to go back to their birthplace, but is unable to because they don't have enough power or influence to do so. And guess what, guys? Surprise, surprise. The theme of longing for home was something that hit really close to me as someone who has made a short film exploring that exact theme. But I think the most interesting thing about this reveal is how much it humanizes Rover. Before this, we saw Rover as this all-powerful person, the guy...
Why did he call Rover an immigrant?
...who has sentinels as pets, the founder of the Black Shores who guided humanity...
Sorry, I realized he did that like a couple of minutes ago. I'm just like, what?
...in the past.
Guys, that would be like calling Omni-Man an immigrant. like from Invincible, you call Superman an immigrant. Would you call Superman an immigrant?
Rover was the guy.
Yes, he is. God, I know. I understand that, but just because it's technically true doesn't mean you need to use the fucking word.
Guy or girl, but now we see that he is just a guy sent on a mission far away who really misses home but doesn't have the power or standing to do so. And for the first time, it made me really excited to see where this character could go in the future. Which brings me to what I'm hoping the game does.
I mean, the fact that you see, like, the rover inside of, like, the sigillum suit, you know it's, like, their frequencies and stuff. I mean, you know that there's going to be a big sort of, like, homecoming eventually, right? Very excited to see where that one goes.
Because as a self-contained story, I don't have many criticisms of 3.1 because it was a really tight, well-told story overall. But
only thing I could say dragged about 3.1 was the platforming piece. It was cool, though. They made it nice. It was just some of the stuff felt really repetitive there.
instead, it has changed the way I view it, for better and for worse, because from a storytelling perspective, this has really upped the ante. In my mind now, this has become more than just some pseudo-harem power fantasy story, and as such, my expectations for the storytelling have also gone up. And I think for the quality to maintain at the new bar that this patch has set in terms of storytelling,
I think we need a filler patch. No joke, I hope 3.2 is like, it wraps up the story arc that we're on right now, then a bit of a filler for the second half. I'm hoping for that because I actually do think we need time to chill.
there are two main things that I'm really hoping will happen in the future. For characters to change, and for consequences to stick. What do I mean by that? Do I mean that I think Aemeath should remain a potato and have Rover live with that?
No, because the mech is who Aemeath will become.
Oh, I think that would be a
Quote-unquote Aemeath, potato Aemeath.
very interesting and ballsy place to take the story, but
Because in the story, in 3.1, Aemeath and the mech are the same. You never see the mech and Aemeath both on the screen at the same time. And so, part of my theory has been that Potato Aemeath controls the mech. That's why the mech kind of sounds like a robot, because, well, Potato Aemeath is an exoswarm, while regular Aemeath is a human form that just, talks and has the same personality.
I don't think that's gonna happen. What I mean is that I hope the events of this patch spark the beginning of some kind of change within Rover as a character, because like any great story, characters need to develop.
What I'm hoping is that Rover, at some point, has another person similar to Aemeath from their past, but they're not alive anymore. Somebody that they cared for at that level, but they're actually not alive anymore.
Biggest weakness for Wuthering Waves right now, and a lot of games in the gacha space for that matter, is that we have gotten so used to jumping from one character story to another, because that is just part of the gacha ecosystem. There's always a new
But maybe they're not alive anymore, but you meet their descendant.
banner to sell, a new shiny wife to collect, but Wuthering Waves especially was one of the biggest offenders of this, because it always felt like no matter what big developments happened in a certain patch, lore-wise it might have some implications, but it would never seemingly have any long-lasting impact on the characters before moving on to the next. I think a great example of this is what happened in patch 2.5 with Frolova's story. This was the patch where, for the first time, we get to see someone actually challenge Rover and put him in a morally questionable position. A patch where he did not get the good ending. It was
The patch where Rover didn't get a good ending. Yeah, I mean, the whole Frolova situation was kind of just like, they end up at like a bit of like a stalemate, right? They end up at a bit of a stalemate. They both don't really get what they want, and it's kind of just awkward.
a patch that broke the pre-existing formula the game had set up before then, and really had the potential to have some long-lasting implications on Rover as a character. But then he kind of just gets over it within like 5 minutes, and in the very next patch he goes back to being the same badass Giga Chad saving the day like he always was. And the events from the previous patch are barely a speck on his mind or his conscience. Frolova who? Never heard of her. And I sincerely hope that this doesn't happen again this time.
I think it's the fact that Kuro plans on using Frolova as a bit of like a slow burn. I think there's a reason why they like show her in cutscenes, like literally stalking Rover. She shows up in cutscenes, like the Renacita finale, just like literally stalking him. So I think they're going for, yeah, they're trying to, Frolova will be back. And I think that's like the point of, I don't know. I'm excited to see where they take her.
Aemeath isn't just another potential wife or another friend from your past. She is your daughter, and with that comes responsibility. And with everything that's set up, what I would hate to see is all of the issues and all of the conflicts to be solved, and that Rover would go back and default back to the same guy he always was.
I think that Rover can't. After learning, like 3.1 in my opinion is meant to be like the sort of like chapter shift. There's no way Rover can go back to the old things that they're doing with the new knowledge that they have from both Sigillum and Aemeath and then their past and all of that. There's no way that they do. And so I understand his concerns here, but to me, it's like theory crafting. Like, to me, this is like theory crafting on how Kuro could fuck it up. And I'm glad he's doing it, right? Because it shows that he understands really, like, keenly, right, what 3.1 did well. But I just want to, reconfirm, it's like theory crafting. So Kuro would have to, like, fuck up tremendously to, I guess, have this reality that he's talking about actually happen.
Which would be a massive shame in my mind, because this is the patch that, for the first time, I actually saw Rover as a character and not just a conduit for the player. Like, if we do end up saving Aemeath, which I assume we will, is there going to be some kind of sacrifice? Is there going to be a choice that Rover makes that is going to live with him, that will stick with him till future arcs?
This is my take. I think that a pivotal part of the fight against Aleph 1 with, the fight against Aleph 1 is going to include Sigillum, Rover, Chisa, and Aemeath. And I think at some point, Aemeath, I think the sacrifice that's going to be made is from Sigillum's end, like old Rover. And I think part of it is that old Rover might actually make the decision to just let go of their past. Like, now that they know about it, like, to defeat Aleph 1, like, Sigillum might have to, like, disappear or something, right? And that basically means all hope of going back home. Perhaps something like that. And maybe that's the sacrifice that gets made, right? The idea of home. And then every single memory of home, right, just disappears alongside that. Could be it. Who knows?
Is there anything that will happen within the next few patches that will change the way I view him as a person, as an actual character? By giving his actions consequences, it makes the things he does have meaning.
All I know is there's a lot going into this next patch. And who knows, right? There's potential that Kuro might decide to rewrite the story based off of certain theories that are out right now. That developer interview almost has me thinking that they're open to doing some deviations in the plot to, like, maybe go with what like people are most excited about, because I think a lot of the theories that have like occurred are very, very, very smart. But they did make a comment about Chisa maybe not being as front and center as they might have liked, or as some people were theorizing. So we'll just have to see.
Add stakes to the choices he makes, and it makes him an actual character, and an interesting one as well. This is what I think needs to happen for me to see this as not just good for a gacha game, but an amazing narrative experience that can be compared to some of the great traditional games, movies, or anime.
That's why I've been putting 3.1 story on the same level as general media. 3.1 story elevates Wuthering Waves' story beyond every single Hoyoverse game ever made. Pretty much beyond every single gacha game ever made. And I don't think there's really an argument against that. Hoyoverse's story is literally a fucking joke in comparison. It's like this Donald Duck, like goofy ass, like Mickey Mouse shit. You know it, bro. Like I saw so many people bitching and moaning about Nodcry's story seeming like a fucking fairy tale, bro.
As a community, gacha is often judged by its patches. A game is only as hyped up as its previous patches. Every patch needs a narrative climax, a character moment in it. And I think what we sacrifice with that is setup time for a real payoff. It's long-running character arcs, because
and one of the reasons why 3.1 was so great was that you literally felt the payoff from literally the rest of the stories games combined. Like the rest of the chapter stories, the quests that we've had from 1.0 to 3.0, that 3.1 felt like payoff for everything.
When every patch you are introducing, showing the backstory, and paying off a certain character, there is no time to build up towards the bigger picture. But right now, Wuthering Waves is poised in this very interesting situation where they've put the narrative pieces into place that could really drive change for the characters within it. But as it stands right now, the story presented in 3.1 is definitely peak Wuthering Waves, but I would hazard to call it peak just yet, because that would imply that it couldn't potentially get better.
I'm not gonna call it peak because that would imply it can't get better. This fucking guy.
And I don't see it that way anymore. Right now, though, I'm just...
So he's saying he thinks the story's gonna get even better from here.
Really excited about where this game could go in the future and where...
So that's why he's deciding not to call it peak, because he thinks the peak is higher than this.
The story could possibly go, because there is so much potential here. And I'm looking forward to seeing how it evolves even more in the future. And yeah, that's it. That's my opinion on Wuthering Waves.
So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I think that was an awesome review by Garnt, awesome review by Giguk, whatever you want to call him, right? And my take is that, yeah, he is one of those day ones that I think hasn't been playing as often as maybe somebody like me. But this is the thing. Brother clearly knows what he's talking about, got like some minor versions and stuff like that wrong, and he shows a deep understanding of the story. And I think the fact that somebody like this is showing such a massive level of confidence, and then of course, accurately depicting what would make the story fall off, but then confirming, right, he doesn't really think that's going to happen. It's only going to get better. I think this is one of the biggest sign-offs you could have gotten in the space, and this is my personal take. This didn't even feel like a sponsored review. It didn't feel like it was sponsored. And like, I guess this is the thing. I don't even think Kuro reviewed this shit. I think they just said, upload your review on it. We don't have to check it out. Like, you can just upload whatever you want. And I feel like that's what might have actually happened. So, maybe this is the worst sponsor ever. Maybe this is the best sponsor ever. Who knows? You get to decide. But, all I know for certain is that his directions are just Google the game. Let me know what you all thought. Peace out.